Going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Ralph's Real Review, where we're going to be discussing why The Little Mermaid is the greatest Disney movie for now. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you can be notified every time we add to this series and so we can discuss movies in 2025 and beyond. But let's get into the review. The Little Mermaid tells the story of Ariel, who I believe is about 16, but she is a mermaid who is fascinated with the human world. Her father, Triton, who is king of the sea, forbids contact with the human world, and when he finds out she loves a human named Eric, he destroys all of her stuff until she ends up right in the hands of Ursula, the sea witch. Ursula makes a deal with Ariel. Well, she will turn her human for 3 days in exchange for her voice. But if Prince Eric doesn't kiss Ariel by then Ariel belongs to the Sea Witch. The Little Mermaid is the best animated movie Disney has made up to this point. In the films immediately prior to this, there was a lot of odd feeling mixes between new ideas and old animation-wise, but this movie specifically nailed it. It was the last for a lot of things. It did bring back the use of the multiplane camera for the last time. It was the last time that they used traditional animation before they went into this CAPS system fully. I don't know what that means, but maybe some of you do. Regardless, the blend of traditional animation and CGI, they blend way better here than they did in Oliver and Company and movies prior. Pulling off that underwater setting was also great, so number one for me. For storytelling, I have The Little Mermaid also at 1. The use of music has been a staple for Disney movies and truthfully Disney animation ever since the beginning. However, this movie is the first to really give me a Broadway feel where the songs are legitimate beats to the story and the music is blended in very purposefully. I don't want to give away too much of the music section, but it's important to the way that the story is told here, and when you add to the fact that the story is engaging and has some true moments and messaging regarding parenting, it's a surefire number 1. For the characters, I again have The Little Mermaid in first. You can argue about who has the more intriguing protagonist between Peter Pan and Ariel. There is no doubt Peter Pan has the better sidekick with Tinkerbell. However, the rest of the characters go to The Little Mermaid. If you're looking at just the 28 movies we've reviewed so far, in one movie, you have Disney's greatest villain in Ursula, their greatest prince in Eric, arguably their greatest supporting cast with Sebastian, Flounder, Triton, and the rest, and then arguably their greatest protagonist. So what else is there to say? All characters are exactly who they need to be for the story, and they are incredibly fun. For the Disney factor, I have The Little Mermaid in first again, and it really comes down to that Broadway style which came to define the Renaissance and honestly the best of the best for all Disney movies. At this point, we have our dream team established of Ashman, Menken, Clement, and Musker. The Little Mermaid did what Cinderella did 40 years prior, which was reestablish what it meant to be a Disney movie, and for Ariel, what it meant to be a Disney princess. The writing was witty, the songs were great and well placed, the animation was innovative. Overall, nothing compares to feeling like a Disney movie just yet. For the 5th straight category, I have The Little Mermaid in first with the music, and we're going to have to start measuring hits versus overall strength of the soundtrack soon, but for right now, there is no contest. Part of Your World is one of, if not my favorite Disney song. It is a staple, not just for this movie, but for the company. If you're watching through all the movies as I am, this is the scene where you say, okay, I'm watching something totally different now. On top of that, that wasn't even a song that was nominated for Best Original Song. That honor goes to Kiss the Girl, who lost to the other song from this movie, which is Under the Sea. So classics all around. Even the misses are more enjoyable than other movies' best songs. So number 1 soundtrack right now, by far. For box office success, The Little Mermaid comes in at 7th with a little over $563.5 million adjusted for inflation. This was huge as it reestablished the animation division of the company in a major way. At this point, Disney Television was killing, the parks were doing great, but this put the animation studio back in the spotlight where it would remain for a decade. This was a return, when adjusted for inflation, that the company hadn't seen since Walt's passing 20 years prior with The Jungle Book, and unadjusted for inflation, it was the largest return the company had ever seen at the time. Finally, in terms of historical significance, I have The Little Mermaid at 2. This movie did not start the animation genre, so I can't put it above Snow White. I don't think anything will. But it did redefine the company at the time, and it created the formula that these movie makers had been searching for years. There were a lot of firsts and a lot of laughs with this movie, as I've stated throughout the review, but I think the most obvious case right now for The Little Mermaid is there's been numerous sequels, remakes, and spin-off shows. The Little Mermaid is all over the parks. It set the template for what some will argue is the greatest decade in Disney history. I'm not even going to drag out the tier list, guys. This is so obvious if you've watched this far in the review. Everybody should see this movie. I don't care who you are. I don't think it will hold the spot as the best Disney movie ever. There's some very stiff competition coming up very soon. But at this moment in time, it almost deserves its own tier. This movie was by far the best Disney movie ever made right now, from the soundtrack to the characters to the animation. It sets the template for what we know the Disney company to be today. And if you're someone who watches literally any movie, there is no reason for you not to see this one. That's going to do it for today's episode, guys. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and hit the bell so you can get notified for every review that we do. Shout out to my sisters for hooking me up with the tools for my new setup here. We are just getting started on the channel. I'm really excited. We're also continuing this series and making all movie reviews in 2025, so you don't want to miss that. You can also follow me on TikTok at Ralph's Rapid Review, where I post my rapid reviews a day sooner than YouTube. You can follow me on Instagram at Ralph's Review, and let me know in the comments, guys, what you think about The Little Mermaid. Where does it rank on your all-time list? Where do you think it'll rank on my all-time list? Let me know in the comments, but for now, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.